Hello and welcome to my show Indus Cuisine, and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. We're back with another new episode from the heart of Pakistan, and today's recipe is very interesting. This recipe is enjoyed by most of the Pakistanis, and especially by the Pakhtun people who are from the province of KPK, also known as Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. It's widely available in the city of Peshawar, and everyone knows Peshawar is the capital city of KPK, the province of Pakistan, which is in the northern areas, and it's a beautiful city with a lot of culture and great food, and people over there are usually meat eaters in form of like when you talk about food. So today's recipe is known as Kabuli Pulao. Yes, you might be thinking Kabuli Pulao. Kabul is actually a city in Afghanistan. This recipe dates back even before Pakistan was made. It comes from the time when Babur started ruling the subcontinent. So back in the day, dry fruits and fruits were mainly available in the Afghanistan area. And it's said that this recipe was originated over there. Why? Because they made this recipe with dry fruits and dried grapes, which we also call raisins. So it's a very interesting recipe. It holds great significance to our culture. Why? Because if you go to KPK, you go to Peshawar, you'll find the oldest restaurants serving this recipe as their main star dish. And it is also said that this recipe was one of the reasons why Pakistan got an influx of different dry fruits. Why? Because we got accustomed to all these things which were available back in the day in Afghanistan, and this recipe's name changed with the passage. Now you need to listen very closely. So back in the day, it was called Kabili, not Kabuli. So Kabili means, it comes from the Urdu word or the Pashto word Kabil. Kabil means worthy. So it was said that if a person knows how to make this recipe properly, he's one of the blessed people, one of the Kabil people. And then when time passed by, its name changed to Kabul, city Kabul, which it actually originated from. So it's a very interesting recipe. The ingredients are over here. First of all, you need meat, and when we talk about meat, this recipe needs around 1 kg of beef. So this is boneless beef. I'll keep it over here. It's wrapped up properly. Then you need some star anise, some garam masala, salt to taste, cinnamon sticks. You need sugar. You might be thinking where the sugar will go. We'll be caramelizing carrots for this recipe, so we should take this back and keep it for later on. Then you need some ginger. You need some clarified butter, known as ghee in our language. You need some cashews. You need some almonds, you need some raisins, you need some walnuts, and around half a kg of rice. So the menu card will be saying Sela rice. Why? I'll tell you. There are two types of famous rice in Pakistan. One is known as Basmati, the other one is known as Sela rice. So Basmati, everyone's heard of, it's the king of rices, but when you talk about the queen of rice, it's Sela. Why? Because no matter how much you boil Sela rice, it will never break down. The shape won't go out of place. It's like, you can say, a form of our desi risotto rice. Okay, so first what you need to do is you need to remember this recipe will be made in 3 parts. You need to boil the meat in a pressure cooker. Back in the day when Babur and all his chefs used to cook this recipe, this was cooked overnight. Why? Because meat takes time. What they used to do was they used to take a lot of water, take beef, keep it in a copper wok, and then they used to cook it overnight over wood fire. And in the day, the meat used to fall apart, and the water in that you can say utensil was then used to boil the rice, and that's where the flavor comes from. It's like a pilau. Pilau means also like pilaf in Spanish. So you'll see how this recipe is done. And then you need around 3 onions, you need around 3 to 4 tomatoes, you need a bit of mint leaves towards the end, but not right now. So we'll start off with the recipe. First of all, what you need is you need to cut the beef into cubes. I'll do it in front of you. I'll just keep the green board at the back, and I'll keep this one in the front. We need to cut the beef into small pieces, around 1-inch pieces. I'll take a meat knife, take the meat out. It's completely dried. You can see some fat on top. You won't take that out, you need that. What you'll do is first you will cut the beef, keep this on the side, and use the fat also. So around you need to make strips of this meat, and then we shall make pieces and cubes of this. This is done. Now what you need is 1-inch pieces. So around this much. Slowly and gradually. If you want to avoid beef, what you can do is you can make it with lamb meat also, but I prefer it with beef. And secondly, this recipe is beef focused in Pakistan, in KPK, in Peshawar. Why? Because beef is the most commonly used meat in that province, and also the second most commonly used meat in that province is sheep meat, to an extent that if you eat any form of chicken kadai, mutton kadai anywhere else, you'll find these two variants of meats, and when you go to KPK, everything is either made with beef or it's made with lamb meat. Okay, so this is done. I'll keep the knife on the side. I don't throw my knife in the sink. Why? Because there are chances that your knife can start chipping if you drop another piece of glassware or another knife on top. So just try keeping your knife on the counter once you use them. Why? Because if the tip of the knife is ruined, the precision of your food and your cooking and your whole process can also get damaged. Okay, this is done. What I'll do is I'll take a plate and I'll keep it on that so that I can shift the board then. So the meat goes here, and momentarily I'll keep it over here. I'll take the board up and I'll keep it at the back. I need another board. Rinse my hands once. Dry them out. And now let's start cooking. Okay, so this is done. You need a pressure cooker first. An interesting fact, it's said that when a person, like back in the day, not now because we live in a modern world now, but around 200 years ago or maybe 100 years ago, there's a saying in Kabul, if you're choosing a wife who wants to marry you, if she makes good Kabuli Pulao, she is one of the best chefs. So basically this dish was the epitome of your culinary experience if you are someone who will be running a house. But this is like an old story. Now we live in a modern world, and even a man cooks, even a woman cooks. Cooking is for everyone. Okay, so I'll add some water. How much of water? You need around 1.5 liters. That was 1.5 liters. And then you need to add a few things. Firstly, I'll take some ginger. I will just make 4 rough pieces and I shall throw it in the pressure cooker. This is done. I'll take a few sticks of cinnamon and a stick of and just a flower of star anise. This is done. Add some salt around, you can say, 1/2 teaspoon. And then toss the beef in. The beef goes in. And the beef, you have to keep cooking it for at least 25 minutes. Okay, so just try submerging it. When this is done, give it a lid, press it, and once the whistle starts blowing like this, you will count 25 minutes. Okay, so I'll increase the heat to full, and once it blows, I'll reduce the heat. So till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll start off with the recipe on the other hand. You need another wok. I'll just pick up this and I'll keep it on the side. Bring a wok, keep it here. Okay, now what you need is you need to start cooking for this. We will take onions first and finally chop them. Okay, so the root is on, just split it half. I'm using white onions. Why? I'll tell you, because this dish is not very spicy. As you can see, there is no spice in it. When I talk about spice, I mean there's no black pepper, there is no white pepper, there is no red chili, there is no green chili. No form of chilies are used in this recipe. So this recipe will have this nice sweet element to it. That's why we will even add some caramelized carrots with some ghee and sugar in it to bring this taste out, and you're also using another sweet ingredient which is called the raisin. So when you use a white onions are considered to be sweeter than the red onions. So remember one thing, for this recipe, try sourcing white onions rather than the red ones, because the red ones are a bit bitter, or you can even say a bit stronger in flavor. Okay, so just like finely chop this, keep the root on the side. If you can't find the white onions, then you have an opportunity of using the red ones. The flavor of the recipe would change a bit, but you can get by. But preferably, if you're doing the perfect thing, if you want to do justice, this is what you need to do. Throw the roots in the dustbin, pick it up, throw them on the side, and now bring this pan to heat. And when it's hot, you should shift the onions into this. So the other thing you need is some ginger. What I'll do is I shall finely slice the ginger till the time the pan is coming to heat. So just pick the ginger and finely slice it as fine as you can go, because when it will cook, it shall get so soft that it will just dissolve in your mouth. The thicker it is, the longer it will take to get really soft. So the cuts matter a lot whenever you're talking about chopping, cooking and everything. This is done. Okay, the wok is hot. First of all goes in the clarified butter. I'll leave some for later. Pick it up, put it here, rinse your hands once. As you can see, the whistle will blow once this part is up. Okay, the clarified butter has melted properly. Now you shall fry the onions in this. So first the onions go in. The advantage of using a big knife is you can even use it for like scraping up things and pouring it in the wok. Mix it. You can see the onions are properly submerged in the clarified butter, also known as ghee. Now what you need is reduce the heat to medium. Why? Because you don't want to burn them. You want to make them translucent, and once they're translucent, then you'll just turn them to golden brown. This is done. Around a quarter teaspoon of salt. Spread it out. Why? Because it brings the moisture out. Mix it. This is done. Give it a lid and let it cook for like 30 seconds. Okay, till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll just pick this up and put it in the bowl it came from. Why? I'll tell you. So now you need 4 tomatoes. But for the tomatoes, you need to peel them. Why? You have to peel them because when you're cooking it with the rice, you don't want the peel to be coming in your fork or your spoon. So peel them and it will give you a finer texture. What I'll do in the break is I'll peel 3 of them and I'll do 1 in front of you. So we're going to go for a short break. Keep watching Indus Cuisine. Welcome back. You're watching Indus Cuisine and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. During the break, I've just done one thing. I just took the onions off because now they were light, they were translucent basically, and now you need to add the ginger in it. And also what I did was I just peeled 3 of the tomatoes on the flame like I'm doing it right now. Why? Because I had to save time for you. So once this is done, I'll peel this in front of you. What I'm doing is I'm just grilling it on open flame, and then I shall peel it. This will give you 2 things. You will get a nice char grilled flavor in the tomatoes, which will be transferred in your food also, which will obviously taste nice. And also the other thing is, this is the way Pakistanis do it. We do it on open flame, open heat. I just use this sieve and I do it in an easier way, easier fashion you can say. This takes around 30 to 40 seconds each tomato on high heat, and then we shall continue. Okay, this is done. I'll keep the tomato here, and remember this is really piping hot. This goes over here, and always put the water on it. Why? Because you want the temperature to go down. Okay, now what you'll do is bring this back. You can see the onions are nicely translucent. What I'll do now is bring it back to heat. Till that time, I shall just scrape the skin off like this. It's a little hot. Be a little careful. You do not want to burn yourself. Okay, this is done. Now you need 4 tomatoes, finely chopped. What I'll do is I'll just cut them from the middle. Take the eye of the tomato out. Sorry, I forgot with this one. You can keep this over here. When you peel the tomatoes, they get really slippery, so be a bit careful. And this is done. Okay, you should look back over here. Reduce the heat to low. This is done. And now add the ginger to it. The ginger goes in. This goes at the back. Rinse your hands once more. Come back. Mix it once. And take the lid off. Now you want the onions to start getting a little bit brown. Till that time, what we'll do is we shall just quickly chop the tomatoes as close as you can go. Why? Because the closer, the finer the tomatoes are chopped like this, the better texture you shall get. And the last one now, and this is done. Now what you'll do is you shall just rinse your hands once more and start cooking now. Okay, increase the heat, add some of the spices. First, the cinnamon goes in, then we shall add some star anise. I'm adding it right now so that I can get a nice flavor. Why? Because it will fry properly. And as you can see now, the onions are getting brown. So this transition from translucent to brown is like within 35 to 40 seconds on high heat. So always keep your eye over here and do not move it too much. Why? Because the more the air passes or the air hits the pan or you can say the clarified butter, the temperature goes down. When the temperature goes down, what will happen is it will take more time. Okay, so this is done. I shall just push this on the side, and now you shall add some of the dry fruits. Okay, first we add this, the walnut. I'm going to fry it in the butter. It's going to taste really nice. Then add some cashews, and then you should add some almonds. I'm frying the dry fruits for added flavor. Remember that. Move it. And now the raisins. All of the raisins will not go in right now, so I'll add half of them. Why? Because I want the sweetness of the raisin to mix with the clarified butter, and I'll leave the rest on the side for the end. I'll tell you why and when I shall use that. Cook the raisins for another 30 seconds. The raisins are going to get really plump when they hit the oil and they cook. Remember that. I'll show you a piece. Let me just show you. I'll pull one out from here. That's the raisin. It's a bit plump. And now you can add the last thing. The tomatoes go in. So add the tomatoes. And now start mixing it. Take a cloth if it's too hot. This is done. Press it down a bit. And put a lid on it and let it cook for 5 minutes on high heat, and the tomatoes are going to go down. So till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is I'm going to clear out a bit and I'm going to open the pressure cooker, and then I'll show you the next step, what's to come next. So what I did was only 2 things. Now you have to remember very, very closely. The main thing for this recipe is this water that will be left in the pressure cooker. If you're not using a pressure cooker, the meat will take at least 4 hours to get really soft. So now you have to see when the pressure cooker is done, it's cooled down. You should take this water and save it with your life. You need it. And then this is the beef. It's properly cooked. It's 80% cooked. I'll cook it with the rice right now because there's a lot to do still. Okay, on the other hand, when you see this, it's properly done. You can see the oil is coming up. I shall just take spoon. I shall just press it like this. Why? Because I want the tomatoes to break down properly. Okay, so I'm breaking the tomatoes down, mixing it as we go. And if some of the tomatoes aren't breaking down too well, it's completely all right. There's a reason behind that. Why? Because we shall give it some more time to cook with the rice also, so it will start breaking down. Okay, now what you need to do is one thing. Firstly, you'll add some garam masala, not too much, around half a teaspoon. Spread it out. I've added the garam masala wherever the oil is. You can see why, because I want the garam masala to fry for at least 15 to 20 seconds. The flavor is going to come out, and then I shall mix it like this. And now we shall change to another piece in which we shall start cooking. This shall go here, keep it over here. Transfer all of the goodness from this to this. So just pick it up, transfer it. This oil is all the flavor. Do not waste it. Scrape it out as much as you can and transfer it over here. This is done. Put it here. Mix it, spread it out, and right now add the beef. But you can see these pieces of ginger. Pick it out, you don't need it anymore. It was just for the flavor, for the broth. Add it here, put this on the side, clean as you go, and mix it properly. I've mixed this. Now take this. It goes into this. All of it. This goes here. Mix it up once more. Bring this to boil. Okay, till the time this comes to boil, what we'll do, we'll give it a lid and we'll start off with the remaining part of this recipe. So what you need is, you need to throw these away. You don't need these little pieces. And pick the carrots up. I'll take around 3 pieces. Okay, so I've peeled the carrots already. What we'll do is we shall cut it equally in such sizes. This is done. Keep this on the side. And now we shall make slices of the carrot like this. When this is done, take your knife and go as close as you can and go thin. Now you might be thinking he's making pretty thick pieces, but I'm doing this. Why? Because I shall fry it in clarified butter and they shall get really, really soft, and it will be a part of this glorious, delicious recipe. Okay, this has come to boil. Take the rice and put it over here. I had soaked the rice, just see if there's some water, so drain that out. This is the rice which goes in here. Spread it out. Do not put it in one place. And do not waste. So scoop it out as much as you can. Again. This is done. Level it properly. Give it a lid and let this cook for 10 to 12 minutes. So there's still a lot of work. So till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is we shall start cutting the carrots, and once the carrots are done, I'll let you know what to do next. So now, first of all, the clarified butter goes in. Keep this on the side. and then you shall add the carrots into it. But first, let it come to heat. Over here, do not take the lid off. It's almost done. You just need to do one thing. Hold it and just shake it a bit, because I don't want the rice to start sticking at the bottom. Again, once more, just move it. Reduce the heat to medium low now. This has come to heat. The fragrance is beautiful. This goes in. This. And we shall start sweating it. Okay, if there's some clarified butter left, which is over here, I'll just add it on top. And then I shall take some sugar. But first, mix this up. Add the sugar on top. And let it caramelize. So we shall just rinse this once more. And start mixing it up. Okay, so mix it as you go. It's like glazed carrots from the French culinary kitchens, but as I said, the Afghanis did it before. Let it cook on high heat, and now add the dry fruits. The raisins go in, the almonds go in, the walnuts go in, the cashews go in. This is done. This goes on the side. Mix this beauty up and shuffle it. Okay, this is done. I shall cook this for another 2 minutes on high heat. Why? Because I want the carrots to start getting fried and really, really soft. And this is almost ready. So now I'll start preparing for the dish out, the last part, and I shall show you the last look of the recipe. So as you can see, today's recipe is ready. So I added the caramelized, the glazed carrots on top. The dry fruits are over here. The meat is there. It's a delicious luxury you can enjoy from the country of Pakistan, originated from Kabul. I hope you liked today's episode, today's recipe. It is very close to my heart, and I shall enjoy it after this. Take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.